It's a bird, it's a plane, it's emo Superman boy person. Hey ladies and gents, I'm Kwing, and welcome to another LEGO Batman 3 Character Spotlight. Today we're looking at Superboy, Connor Kent, KON-EL, because you requested it. Now the minifigure is a clone of Superman. He can shoot heat vision, has super breath, X-ray abilities, super strength, nigh invulnerable, and can fly. His costume is actually based after the new 52 for this game, rather than his Teen Titans look or Young Justice look, which was a black t-shirt with the symbol of hope on it, you know, the Superman S. For the purpose of this learning video, we'll only be talking about post-crisis Superboy, rather than pre-crisis Superboy, who was Superman as a little kid and a teenager. They also made a show about it. It's called Smallville. Sort of. Anyway, I also won't be talking about the Legion of Superheroes and Time Travel Superboy and the revamp from John Bryn, or is it Bourne? Whatever. No, we're chatting about Connor Kent, KON-EL, the 90s Cadmus clone with a leather jacket, bad attitude, and horrible haircut. If you want to see what I'm talking about, head to my Facebook or Twitter for a picture. Yeesh. So anyway, Superboy was created in June of '93 to be part of the Supermen after the death of Superman. It's just fun to say Superman, isn't it? Connor is actually a jerky teenage womanizer missing all of Superman's good qualities, like his charm and humility and just being polite. A unique thing about Connor's powers is they actually mimic Superman's through telekin mind powers. He also wears a visor disguised as shades, so it works as X-ray vision and heat vision. Though how? I don't know. It was done by that Hamilton guy from Star Labs. Anyway, he's actually approached later in his career by Supergirl to work for LexCorp, and, you know, instead he goes with Lex's competitor, some guy named Leech, who makes him a reality star. But mostly he goes for the guy because he has a teen girl around the same age named Roxy. Though later he dumps Roxy for a girl named Tanya Moon and falls for her because she's a reporter. Similar to, you know, Superman and Lois. It's an interesting dynamic. Their relationship is kind of interesting because she's so much older than him, and eventually she breaks things off after learning he can't age, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Eventually he meets Robin, aka Tim Drake, and then joins Drake's Young Justice team along with Bart Allen, who is Impulse. But I'm jumping ahead. After the Coast City thing is destroyed, you know, Green Lantern's place, and the Eradicator was not responsible for it during the reign of the Supermen storyline, Connor tries to defeat the cyborg Superman by himself and is almost killed, then captured. He later escapes and warns the remaining League members that didn't go off on a wild goose chase that Superman, or Cyborg Superman, is going to destroy Metropolis next. KON-EL also meets the real Superman emerging out of the water in his cool black recovery Krypton suit thing. And guess what? He wasn't dead after all, he was just sleeping. After Connor helps the real Superman defeat the cyborg in an awesome reality-punching thing through the guy's chest, he goes on a journey around the world to find himself, similar to what Batman and Nightwing and Tim Drake always do. Eventually he settles in Hawaii and pursues a relationship with Tanya yet again. Though she is so much older than him and he's still about 13 years old, but in reality, he's only 1 year old because he's a clone of Superman that's aged to be a teenager because he escaped before the cloning process could be done. Then he would have been a full Superman clone, which actually happens later, but it's kind of sad. So while he's in Hawaii, he gets his own rogues gallery, gets dragged into the Suicide Squad by Amanda Waller and the Guardian, which was a cool character in the 90s, and develops a Cadmus disease. So he's rushed back to Metropolis and is the only clone to survive the whole Cadmus plague or something. Lex is also revealed to be a clone and then tries to destroy the city because he goes crazy. I mean, he had to be a clone. He had long red hair and a thick beard. Lex can't grow any hair. Superboy helps Superman and Supergirl defeat Lex and save the city. He then leaves to visit the Kents and also accidentally learns Superman's real identity by running into a younger version of himself during Zero Year, which actually is kind of funny because in another comic, Tim Drake runs into a very young Dick Grayson as Robin, so pixie boots and all. It was pretty cool. Zero Year was an interesting comic book in the 90s. Anyway, when Connor turned 16 as a clone, so 3, Roxy confesses to him, and he turns her down. Superboy becomes infected with another disease because of his cloning, and this one prevents him from aging. This crushes Connor because he hoped to one day take over for Superman when Superman retired, but no, he's always gonna look like the same punky, terrible haircut 16-year-old. Some time passes and Connor helps found the Young Justice, which happened while the three boys were camping in the old Hall of Justice in California, and then they were spooked by Red Tornado, who eventually acts as the team's advisor between the League. Eventually, Dick Grayson hears what's going on with his little brother and visits the group, giving him his blessing, more or less. During this time, Superman takes Superboy to the Fortress of Solitude and gives him the name KON-EL and says, "Hey, you're a part of my family now." It was a Kodak moment. Sadly, things don't go so well after becoming a member of the L family. The hero faces some serious tragedy. First being his love, Tanya Moon, gets killed. Then later, on Young Justice graduation day, Nightwing disbands the Titans and Young Justice after the death of Donna Troy, Lilith, and Omen during a fight with a rogue Superman robot. Cyborg would eventually end up creating the new Teen Titans team with Raven and Beast Boy acting as kind of the advisor role, and Superman would call Connor to return to the team, while simultaneously Batman and Wonder Woman talk to Tim Drake and Wonder Girl, and Impulse just returned on his own, on an impulse. Get it? When he was with the Titans, Connor goes on to do many different adventures. He also starts a relationship with Cassie, Wonder Girl, and helps a legion of superheroes in the 31st century, and even meets a dark future version of himself, you know, in the future, where Tim is now Batman, Cassie is Wonder Woman, and Flash is Bart Allen. Oh, and also, you know, he's Superman, but evil. So they're kind of like the opposite of the Justice Lords or Criminal Syndicate or whatever. They're the bad guys now in the future. After defeating their evil doubles, they go back in time and are like, maybe we need to disband so this doesn't happen. And Cyborg's like, no. This happened because the team wasn't together during the upcoming crisis. So the team decides to, you know, stay together. During this time, Connor's Kryptonian DNA starts to kick in a little bit, you know, like hitting puberty, and more of Superman's real powers are now at his disposal, along with his mind abilities. So he's like super powerful. But unfortunately, we learn that Connor now shares DNA with Lex Luthor, so eventually he goes crazy and does his dad's bidding and almost wipes out the entire Titans team, nearly killing both Tim Drake and Cassie, thinking they have a thing going on, you know? So, also he becomes bald, or he shaves his head bald to be Lex's son, or whatever. After he recovers from that craziness, not long after that, Superboy Prime comes to this Earth during the Infinite Crisis. Nightwing and Connor then team up to save the universe, though Grayson gets injured and almost killed. Connor sadly loses his life to Superboy Prime, but does manage to give the heroes enough time to stop him. In 2008, Connor is brought back to life and appears before a confused Red Robin, Tim Drake. Connor says he woke up in the 31st century with the Legion of Superheroes, or the Legionnaires, and his body was apparently placed in a healing chamber much like Superman after Doomsday, though it took like thousands of years for him to come back to life, or something. The two BFFs bond, and he helps Tim Drake discover that Batman is actually lost in time and wasn't slain by Darkseid. Some stuff happens, and of course, then the New 52 rewrites everything. He doesn't have the same friendship with Tim or any of the other Titans. He's just a wandering clone trying to find his place in this world. My place in this world. It's a song. Look it up. Anyway, Supergirl likewise hates him and calls him Khan, which in Krypton means abomination. He eventually joins the Titans, kind of. Later during one of his missions, as part of Drake's Teen Titans that he founded, not Dick Grayson, mind you, Drake, he meets a time traveler from Krypton called Heel, or Hell, or something. It's like, you know, the whole L thing, but HL. The whole L thing is confusing, like of Krypton. Anyway, so he gets captured by this time-traveling Kryptonian guy, and Superman and Supergirl try to save him. They bond, sort of, and Superman does kind of like a pre-52 thing. You're a part of my family now. You'll now have the title of L, so he becomes Abomination L, so KON-EL. After fighting the future son of Lois Lane and Clark Kent, John L., Khan is sent back to Krypton's final days, only able to save one city with the last of his strength since, Krypton doesn't have a yellow sun, so there aren't really any super beings. Khan uses all his powers, including his mind stuff, to carry the city of Argo, Supergirl's, home, moments before the planet explodes. So he becomes a hero instead of an abomination. So it's a nice little parallel because she is the one that hates him, yet he's the one responsible for saving her. It's kind of interesting how that worked out. The clone saved everyone in that entire city. So you're welcome. But of course, it's later revealed that he's alive and well as kind of like a Silver Surfer-like being patrolling time and space with the Oracle. She's like Booster Gold, okay? Kind of like, a superpowered Booster Gold entity person. Back on Earth, John-El, Clark and Lois's son from the future, takes over the identity of Superboy and acts similar to his pre-52 version, except he's secretly plotting to destroy all the metahumans in the new 52. So he's kind of like a Trojan horse hero. But his costume is very similar to the pre-52 punk, Superboy. So, quick history on Young Justice before we wrap up. The TV show version of Superboy is just a Cadmus clone. He looks up to Superman and sees him as a father figure. He also falls in love with Miss Martian instead of Cassie, who isn't on the team yet. She appears in season 2. And he's also best friends with a young Dick Grayson instead of Tim Drake, and he's also pals with Wally West. So after the 5 years later arc, Connor acts as a mentor to New Titans, Tim Drake, Cassie, and Beast Boy, and some others. At the end of the series, like when Connor died in Infinite Crisis, Tim and Cassie become an official couple, and Superboy and Megan patch things up, and Nightwing leaves the team to Aw-Qward. And I'm pretty sure that Superboy stays on because his girlfriend is there. Also, Kid Flash unfortunately disappears in the Speed Force, and that's a wrap because there's really nothing else to talk about the Young Justice show. I highly recommend you check it out because it really had Connor shine. But anyway, thanks so much for watching another LEGO lore video. Feel free to suggest the next character, and I'll see what I can do. If not, I'll stick to things alphabetically, which would be Ambush Bug. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until the next time, God bless and happy gaming. Thanks for watching the Let's Play channel. See ya!